Welcome back to the Oval. I'm Claudine. Please welcome Dr. Betty Wambui. Thank you so much for coming. Wambui believes that ALS classes should be a requirement to graduate at SUNY Oneonta. Please share.
ALS, as you know, is, I hope all of you know, is one of 3 African and Latino Studies departments across the state. Most other SUNYs do not have an ALS department.
So
I
did not know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we are one of 3 colleges, Hunter, Baruch, and ourselves, who have an African and Latino Studies.
Wow. It's really not enough.
That's insane.
We agree.
Yeah.
And it is it means that makes this college a really unique college. So being able to take African and Latino Studies courses makes you a unique graduate from the SUNY and CUNY systems. We think that this is important in part because of the issues we address in ALS. Of course, as you know, we have been listening to all of you talking about privilege, intersection, Jasmine brought up, oppression, subordination, racism, you know, that whole debate about slavery. All of this is the kind of work we do in ALS. We think about current issues as they connect to race and class and culture, and of course gender and sexuality, and connect these to both Black and what we think of now as Africana and Latino experiences, as well as histories.
So, Professor, not to cut you off, but why do you think it's not a requirement? Can we do like a petition? Can we have a signature based on something? Who would we talk to make it a requirement? I mean, does it start with us, or does it start with the professors, and how does that happen?
It starts with you. Why isn't it a requirement? It's not a requirement because for many years this country denied the experiences of people of color, and so Ben Carson and slaves as immigrants. The kinds of comments that we have heard from various cabinet picks that President Trump has in regards to people of color, Jeff Sessions, and his attempts to stop people of color from registering as voters, all the kinds of issues that surround bodies of color. So as a result, for a long time, people did not take classes in African and Latino Studies as real classes. It was assumed it's a it's a joke. It was it's just the department you have if you do not want to have trouble. If you want to check off that list for SUNY or other requirements. This is the experience of African and Latino Studies. It was for a long time the experience of women and gender studies. But now we have come to a place where our populations are increasing. And by this I mean populations of all these categories that are considered marginal. And so the big order to stop any further immigration. But as these numbers have gone up, and as more and more people have done work in African and Latino Studies, it's become clear it's a serious discipline.
Okay.
And so now there's general acceptance that it's a valuable course. But of course, the question is always, do students think so as well?
Okay, so if I would major in ALS, what can I do with that? What could I teach? Could I? What would you like? What can you do as an ALS major? Because there's a lot of people that I met on campus are ALS majors, and then when I asked them what they're going to do, and they said, I don't know. That's what the response I get from them. So.
Well, this I don't know is of course the answer that many students have. Not unique to African and Latino Studies majors, but I can tell you what our students have gone out and done. Students who have graduated in African and Latino Studies have gone out and become advocates. They have gone out and become teachers. So we have we have several of them actually in the New York system.
Or like Bev,
superintendents.
Beverly.
We have Beverly.
Oh, okay.
That would be wonderful to have in high schools, and when just get one for each school. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh.
It's kind of like
teachers.
when people ask me, well,
when people ask me that, I mean, well, I have 2 majors and 2 minors, so. But when people ask me why I'm an ALS major, and people ask me, well, what are you going to do with that? And I'm in an institution of higher education, so I say, well, what do you think I can do with that? Since you're in college, you can think, you know. The thing is, like you say, you know, I always like to describe ALS as an intersectional, interdisciplinary social science with a magnifying glass on the Africana and Latino communities. And then being that, you know, a lot of schools you either have to choose between African studies or Latino studies or Asian studies. Some schools, they kind of ball it up together in ethnic studies. But we have a school here where I get to, you know, especially being Afro-Latino, I get to get both groups of people who really have intertwined histories at the same place, you know, and people ask me, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, because I have too many options, you know. I'm a mass communications major, and then ALS complements that so well. We have classes like, you know, African Americans, Latinos on film and TV, so on and so forth. You know, I can become a teacher, I can become a psychologist, I can become a sociologist, I can become a counselor, I can become a professor, I can do so many different things. I can become a lawyer and so on and so forth. You know, it's like, you know, being an ALS major gives me a lot more options than some people with, you know, in general, when you don't have a STEM major, people think, oh, you're not going to get a job, you're not going to do that. I have so many places I know I can apply to because of my Africana Latino Studies a future degree, and you know, it's sad.
You because of that.
Yeah.
Because it's such a rarity. It's so awesome to have.
It's a science, and people don't see it as that, which is really,
it is
really
a science.
Yeah.
Actually, when I came to school, my advisor told me I did not need to take any of those classes because it was not a requirement. So
I want to change that.
they told me
What's your major?
so I have mass communication.
That's why it's not a requirement.
So they told me I didn't take it. So
women in gender studies classes aren't requirements either.
You have to branch out on your own. It's like one of those things when you're
So-
looking for classes, you just take it. My first class I took was maybe freshman or sophomore year. I took African history. I just started off simple. Then the workload was a lot. I was like, oh, no more ALS classes for me. But now I'm a senior, and I chose to take ALS classes. I'm taking like 2 or 3 of them. And it's because I just wanted to get educated before I left. Like, I wanted to know a little bit more, like things that I didn't learn in Western Civ and U.S. history. So it's like a little different experience.
I came in here like knowing about ALS and thinking, oh, well, you can't really get a job with it, you can't do anything with that. And then for EOP Summer Camp, I took Latino and Latina Writing for Social Change with Professor Eddie Alvarez. And I was just like, who is Sandra Cisneros? Who is Gloria Anzuda? Excuse my accent. I'm like, who are all these, you know, all these amazing radical women? And I was like, oh, you know, I took Black Latino Experience my fall semester. And then my spring semester, I took 3 ALS classes before I was an ALS major because they made my gen ed requirements. Because even though ALS classes are not required, because they're not, like same way a biology class is not required for me because I'm not a bio major, but I have the option to take a bio class to fulfill a natural science credit. But then I was taking African history like you did with amazing Professor Schultz, who's no longer here. I took Race, Gender, Class, and Culture, and I took African American Latinos in Film and TV with Eddie Alvarez, my favorite ALS professor, and I made a decision.
I know you have all that great history with your classes, but we're running out of time. Next time we could continue and pick up left off, and you could come back and we could discuss. But I just wanted to let you know, how did you like our discussion? You have to give us, you know, we're running out of time, Professor, so you got to tell us a little wrap up, 60 seconds. What did you like about all our discussions?
Oh, I think it was excellent. I really enjoyed the fact that you picked up, I think Talia made that distinction between slaves and immigrants. And the fact that the slave experience is really the experience of being forced to act in a manner against your own volition, being moved into the United States, and this is something we like to forget, that this is the history of African and Latino peoples, the experience of being moved without choice. I thought that was interesting, and of course, you know, that whole list about women's history, which women do we honor. And I thought part of what you said that was really powerful, Megan, was that it was your mother who stood out for you, and you recognized your mother, to Claudine, who's not with us, you said?
She's passed away.
Yes, and this is kind of the work we do in African and Latino Studies and Women and Gender Studies, where we begin to do women's, marginal histories. We recognize the kinds of people that are meaningful to us, as well as the Rosa Parks and Audre Lordes and Gloria and Zalduas. And Tali, I'm trying to remember who you.
Oh, Taraji P. Henson.
Yes, you know that work of, and that's a powerful person to recognize, because remember, you know, these are all these invisible women, so hidden figures,
Yes.
yeah, who have transformed our world. So I thought that was really interesting.
Thank you, Professor. We have to wrap up real quick. It's an honor to have you here. I just
pleasure.
thank you so much for coming. Please give her applause. Woo! Don't go anywhere. The Oval Girl Code, Guy Code, and the Gay Code is up next.
Become an ALS major.
Woo!